Hey guys, Sean at Top 5 Fit. Morning. It's about 5 o'clock, Monday. It's July 25th, something like that. Event week. The Akron Marathon Series. It'll be going barefoot for months. Two things were kind of the priority. One, proper acclimation to being back in the Vibrams consistently. Last year I made the mistake of throwing tennis shoes back on and I'm not even sure how I rationalized putting them back on and training in them throughout the year, but it boils down to my feet were killing me. I pretty much spent 8-9 years before that being barefoot, and out of nowhere I decided to throw shoes back on, and sure enough, it didn't feel good. So rather than hop back year and think I'm just going to go ahead and start right back into running with no support whatsoever, I went through the acclimation process again. So basically, maybe a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile out of every 3-mile, 4-mile run was spent in the Vibrams, and then the rest of the time back in the shoes. And then that slowly converted, basically since January until now, to the entire run being, or the entire ride even, being in Vibrams and no tennis shoes at all. So now that that's kind of the case, there's been a slow build on mileage. But now that we're actually back to a, I guess, somewhat of a consistent schedule on the feet, and race weeks popping up, we have to start going through the basically clean it up and get ready to perform protocols. So volume right away, mileage volume is down. It is cut in half. It's about 50%. So if I was running anywhere from 4 and 5 miles, I am doing a Fairlawn's Finest. I'm doing anywhere from 4 to 5 miles on a consistent run. That cuts down to about 2. So we're not going too much more than that. Warm-up time takes a little bit longer. I'm actually opening the stride up, making sure I'm following through with the toe a little bit more, going through all those processes to make sure everything feels good, and I'm not going into the event with any tight areas or itises, uncomfortable spots. All that stuff is kind of accounted for. Biking will still be thrown in. It'll still be there. It's the same kind of concept, though. The volume is cut in half, so 5 miles, maybe 10-mile rides at best. And the emphasis is on pace and control. I'm not trying to gun it at any point in time. There's no explosive bursts. Very consistent. It's the same way on foot. Very consistent. Like I said, long warm up, and then very consistent on holding and maintaining a pace. From day one, kind of decided at my size, my weight, there's really not too much out there for me as far as wins are concerned, any one of the events. But the idea is I want to be able to make it through it and continue on unscathed, kind of thing. So the approach is a little bit different. So basically the rest of today will be a lot of range of motion work. Once we get into the weight room, the weights, the load drops, same thing, 50%, and I'm just making sure that every possible joint, everything actually feels good. Every ounce of movement that is supposed to belong to me is there and available if need be. And at the same time, it's kind of massaged by movement. You clean up a lot of issues. Even going into the week, if you've got some tension that may have built up from previous training, you can clean a lot of that up just by focusing on range of motion before the event actually hits. So hopefully this information helps you. It's a lot of people are doing a lot of things these days. It's no longer just, I'm going to try a 5K or I'm going to go for a little bike ride or something. People are getting into some pretty serious events. So the build up to those events and knowing how to get through it so that you actually are happy with your performance, that's a process. That's a process that everybody's going to do differently. And like I said, this is kind of a spin on what I do. So have a great Monday. Thanks again for listening. I said, I hope this is helping you out. Trying to be more diligent about getting information to you. Outside of that, have a great day. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, because there's going to be a lot more coming. And yeah, the lighting is horrible, and it's probably going to storm in a little bit, but that's okay. Got to get used to these kinds of conditions. Have a great one.